Hello, and welcome to another episode of In My Experience with yours truly, Christine DeGinto. This podcast is a space where I speak from lived experience. The moments that shaped me, challenged me, and changed the way that I understand myself in the world. The awakenings, the breakdowns, the moments that cracked me open, asked me to stay present, be embodied, and be honest with myself. I share my stories not to persuade or define truth for anyone else, but to offer perspective, to explore the gray areas we don't often have language for, to slow things down and listen more closely to what's happening beneath the surface. You'll hear solo episodes where I reflect on my own initiations, spiritual gifts, and the systems that tried to define me, and conversations with guests who have walked strange, beautiful, and sometimes painful paths of their own and come back with wisdom to share with us. I invite you to take what resonates, leave the rest, and trust your own experience as valid. Thank you for being here. This is In My Experience. Welcome back to In My Experience. In this episode, I'm talking with Andria Van Gordon. Andria shares about the beautiful work that she's creating through private immersive experiences on her property in Oregon, where people can slow down, reconnect with themselves, regulate their nervous systems, make space for clarity, healing, and renewal alongside her practices. From there, this conversation unfolds into something really rich. We talk about what it means to feel truly landed in your body after major life changes, how grief can become a catalyst for rebirth, and how intuition deepens when we begin listening not only with the mind, but with our body. We explore multidimensional awareness surrounding spiritual insight into lived reality, reconnecting with the senses, standing in truth within relationships, and healing power of nature, water, nourishment, and presence. This episode is expansive, embodied, and deeply human. If you're moving through transformation, please trust yourself more fully. Learning how to bring your spiritual awareness into your everyday life in a more grounded way. I think this conversation will really speak to you. We sort of just jumped right into our conversation. And so before I introduced her, we had about 20-minute conversation. I decided to make that a bonus episode. So I hope you were able to listen to that before this. And if not, maybe switch over to there or catch it later. Let's get into it. Today we're talking with Andria Van Gordon. We did just jump right into our conversation, so I wanted to stop for a minute and give her some time to introduce herself and let you all know a little bit about what she offers and does in her daily life.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. I have just begun a one-on-one coaching that I am doing mostly here where I live in Portland, Oregon, because I have this space, a big property that I really created to be like a place where you can come to just totally reconnect with yourself, refresh, stay. But I'm working on one-on-one immersions where I can work with somebody for like day retreats. And
Oh,
um, really, my goal is to help them, slow down, reconnect, make room for opening up to what wants to come in for them.
yeah.
And we can do that through all kinds of practices that I have done, like nervous system reset things, nutritional mindset, and then also just connecting into their gut, nervous, intuitive self. So
I
that
love that so much. I hear it all the time in my social circles with with my friends, many of them are like, I wish I could just like get away for like a little bit. Like, I don't want to have like a super intensive experience. I just need like some peace. And that sounds like a wonderful offering. That is awesome that you've been able to put that together. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. I have this gorgeous spot that really has, uh, it's sacred. I mean, it's incredible. And to be able to tap into just both the earth and a person in a quiet space, like I said, just a short, one day thing is sometimes what somebody needs to kind of
Yeah,
just like recalibrate themselves where they can't
absolutely.
take a whole week or a three
Yeah.
day thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's exciting. I'm looking
That's
forward to
exactly what I heard. Recalibrate. That's
that.
exactly what I heard in my mind also.
So it's been something that I've been doing a lot myself over the last year. And so this practice is then something I just am super excited to share with people.
Yes. And I would say that's the best medicine.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't trust a doctor who wouldn't do that for themselves or follow their own advice, right? It's I think that's part of the most powerful way that we assist each other in this great awakening of our own individual and collectively is by sharing what has helped us in what we have needed most. And I think it's interesting how organically that occurs, um, for people. Like, especially I can say for myself, the interests that I've had throughout my life are now integrated in my business. Like, as an end of life doula, I've always been curious about death and fascinated by it, not afraid of it, and really confused about why the majority of people seem to be uncomfortable or not want to even think about it, when in fact it is a guarantee of life
Yeah.
is death. So it's
Yeah.
like the things that people don't want to face. That's like what I start being like, I wonder why that is. Why are people afraid of that? I just want to understand. It's fascinating. So I feel very fortunate to be able to like have a gold mine in the collective consciousness and opportunities to connect with people and just find out more.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, you kind of know my story, but 5 years ago, my husband, who I've been married to for 25 years, passed due to cancer. And obviously, that was a life-shattering, super difficult thing, but it did create something in me that I realized like, oh, this really is an opportunity to not get swallowed by all the grief and, the overwhelm of it, but to reconnect with myself and see what could grow up out of the ashes of that situation. And
Yeah.
so it's been 5 years now of that process, and it's been over and over again, new things being rebirthed through that, and really even going back into that moment where my husband passed, and like really sitting in it and finding the kind of the diamond in that experience. It
Yeah.
has been like it's taken time. It certainly didn't show itself right, or I didn't see it right in the moment, but I would say like, oh, what an incredible experience to have walked through.
Yes. And thank you so much. What a beautiful way to describe it. And it seems very much contrary to what you just said when you were describing the path and how it felt. And along the way, what I was feeling into really the entire time was your incredible awareness and ability for gratitude and appreciation through the difficult moments. And I just want to highlight that for you, because in case you feel otherwise, I have to say it seems very clear that you were able to handle it everything with grace, and also having the wisdom of accepting accepting the experience and being present with it instead of, like you said, wallowing or sitting, getting swallowed in the grief.
Mhm.
It's absolutely an opportunity for you to be reborn in your
Yeah.
own life. Yeah.
Well, it definitely was a process. I would say like there's been moments of growth and awareness that has come through it, but it certainly didn't happen all at once. And there was certainly times of just, overwhelm and being like, what the heck is going on? I can't handle this. But I think it's like you said, when we are in that present moment and slow down, there is that deeper thing inside of us that is like, no, you are okay. You can get through this.
Yes.
There is something in this that it is like that is going to alchemize something that is just like mind blowing.
I think that also is like part of your gift in being able to alchemize those different timelines and recognize them through your intuition. I think that you were able to hear those whispers and feel that light as part of your gifts. I'm just reflecting that. I see it very clearly. So I just am very thankful for that. And I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what I am so curious and excited to see in other people because I've walked through it and experienced it in such a deep, really um transformative way that I'm like, oh my God, what treasure is in this other person's life that they could like be able to see through what
Yes.
looks like a just a terrible experience or a terrible circumstance or just a really hard thing, or just they're struggling stuck and
Hmm.
it's like, oh, they're I just see that ability for there to be alchemy, for there to be a creation of something new and a shift that can happen with awareness that comes into it. Yeah.
And we absolutely need people outside of ourselves to be able to recognize that for us and illuminate the option for us and remind us of what our potential truly is, because it is so hard for anyone to see things for themselves without, through the filter of the judgment of their own mind. It's much easier on the outside to see those diamonds in the rough, like you were
Yeah.
describing.
And
Yeah.
I've had people in my life, and like you said, like Amy and other people I've connected with that have been those reflective moments and kind of given me that ability to see past where I was at and tap into my kind of deeper knowing that has been, moving me through this journey. Definitely
Yes.
has
And I
been.
find it, I found such validation, and I don't want to describe any of your personal details, but at one point we had a reading together, and in our class that we were in together, you asked the same question, and I feel like the same answer was given, and I felt a lot of validation in what I received, and I was hoping that you um were able to have it land, because I know I felt when I was trying to deliver the information that it was difficult to conceptualize, but I felt like it was pretty clear in from what I saw. But it can always be hard to apply sometimes, especially when it's something like outside or different, or something that you don't understand, and that's probably why you're encountering it to learn. So
Yeah.
I just love it. But I think it's so funny the way information can come through almost verbatim, and it's like I hope that was like
Yeah,
validating for your scenario.
absolutely. Yeah. This last month, I would say, December being the last month, yeah, has been such a transformative month for me. Really, really stepping into a deeper level of when I say trusting myself,
Hmm.
like trusting in my truth and really um feeling into my even my body as far as like being part of I've been really good at like tapping into kind of that higher self part of me. And it's been a lot up here, but I think there had been some disconnect in it, I'd feel it through my whole body
Hmm.
always. But not trusting as much that part of that God-given intuition in our body.
Yes.
Okay. And keeping it all up here, but
Yes.
there started being like this connection between the two.
Yes.
Then it was like, oh, stuff just shifted like crazy,
Yes.
intense. Yeah,
Yes. I
crazy.
would say that is like the definition of being ungrounded is being in your head and in these thoughts and connected and up into interdimensional awarenesses and beings. And it can be a lot. And people frequently tell me that I'm ungrounded.
Mm.
But I'm like, I'm very grounded at the same time. And I'm like, I don't believe you, but you're saying it for a reason. I hear you, but I'm a really earthy type of person. I like to get my hands dirty. I'm outside a lot. I walk around barefoot. I'll start, barking like a dog. I can be very that might not sound grounded, but to me it is. So it's funny, but I actually I don't know how to describe it because I recently have been, like you're saying, it is finally landing. I've been hearing this for a number of years, but it's actually finally landing in my physical body now, about having a type of involvement with the secret space program and having an alternate of my consciousness embodying a vessel on a moon in space. Well, that could be why I'm ungrounded because half of my consciousness is, in a different body, which I've heard. Amy has been saying that for years. She's like, you and like a handful of people, like, this is not something normal, but like, you are somewhere else at the same time. Like, I don't know where that is. But she has been able to describe it very well. So, but
What
yeah.
is for you, like what like experientially lately in this last month, like I've said, I feel more and more like this like you said, I'm a very grounded person as well. I would, you know, if you ask any of my friends, they would say like, yeah, Andrea is very grounded.
Yeah.
But I think some of that hasn't translated out in different ways. And let's
Mhm.
in different ways I express myself or speak up for myself or, you know, in relationship and different things. So I'm curious for you in expressing like that your connection you feel like with this other part of yourself that is in these other spaces. How has it showed up for you in your lived experience right now?
A lot of times, like just recently, I've been able to at night when I'm trying to fall asleep, I started wearing an eye mask,
Mm.
and it really helps me because you literally can't open your eyes.
Oh,
So that's just like if you don't wear an eye mask, maybe try it if you feel a little bit sleepless. So whatever. But I've been wearing an eye mask. It also really helps my visuals.
mm,
So as I'm falling asleep, I realized that I was seeing through her eyes.
mm,
Like I was watching myself walk through like doors that open like this, like the kind of
mm.
doors. And I'm like, what the heck? But it's a very interesting way. Like it's not like right in front of my vision. It's like as I'm falling asleep, what happens is color comes in from the outside into like a tunnel formation. And then it like, sometimes there's a little bit of a visual on the inside, maybe like a movie. I can sometimes zoom in or zoom out I don't affect the color. It's usually purple. Sometimes it's blue, but it's usually purple and it's kind of like smoke and it's just like and then it like kind of fades away. But then there's also sometimes other stuff in the peripheral corners. And I can't, if I tried, I could affect it, but then
Mhm.
I'd be manipulating it. So I don't do that. I try my best to just absorb it. Like I'm just allowing and I'm noticing. I'm not fully focusing, but it's almost like I'll see it in my peripheral and I can like kind of like zoom in, expand, witness, and see like different aspects of different stuff. And I really do believe that it's my soul like jumping around in different dimensions. And I am in different bodies and I can also jump into bodies. That's very controversial. And I don't want to do that, but I think that that's happening without my conscious awareness. So, what I'm trying to describe is I'm becoming aware of that.
Mhm.
So, awareness is the first step to being able to master and, not be manipulated. So, from like how it has been landing in my physical body, it makes a lot of sense why I have so much pain.
Mhm.
Um, I have like scar tissue all up on my shoulders. My rotator cuffs are like ruined. My hips hurt. Like I go to a chiropractor every week. I've been working on do a lot of muscle testing and I've been detoxing the past probably like 6 months, 8 months, like with supplements and just trying to manage like my adrenal needs and different things along those lines. And what I've noticed in my face, like my skin and my ears, because I also pay attention to them. Like it's almost like I kind of pay attention to like traditional Chinese medicine aspects or like Ayurvedic aspects, but consistently having breakouts here, like that's your liver. And your liver is connected with anger, but like I don't feel angry. Like I have some things that I could be angry about. I did get angry about them. I'm not really angry anymore. But it's like an overload in my liver and my chiropractor doing muscle testing and different balancing techniques. And he's like, yeah, your liver, your adrenals, like all of these things are on overtime. And it makes a lot of sense that that's from her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm recognizing the pain and density in my physical body that I am sharing the load with an unconsciously connected part of my consciousness.
Mhm.
And it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's so so interesting because I would say that I've had like similar experiences and feeling like as that awareness of kind of this other part of you, and I'm going to just refer like to my higher self, like this part of me
Mhm.
that is potentially in a different dimension than I am right here in this 3D world experience right now. That um, awareness and connection has become so much stronger in the
Mhm.
last 5 years, like incrementally. And there has been more and more, like you said, the same individuals, like being able to like connect into that,
Mhm.
and where that reality is becoming so much more like real, like it
Tangible.
tangible real.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. And where I think we talked a little bit when we were in Amy's container about how there was starting to be like this overlap
Mhm.
in between these dimensions and these layers, where before they were, they were dimensions, but they hadn't quite yet overlapped. And
Yes.
I'm feeling like the overlap of our dimensional selves of these dimensions is it's not just that it's gotten closer, it is now overlapped. And
Yes.
we're able to move so much easier between these dimensions, while staying, when I say landed, staying grounded. Like it
Yeah.
before, it was almost like you had to unground yourself.
Yes. and experience the wide range of the emotions and the wild ride up to be able to
And
have the
it felt
perspective.
so crazy and like that was so separate from this life here. And
Yes.
now it's like these dimensions now have this overlap where it isn't so crazy that you're moving back and forth between it. It feels so much easier. And it's not like easier that, I can move from like jumping into a different dimension. It's like, no, they're overlapped. And there is part of that overlap that I've healed that is like, what is kind of the new, like what we're working with. We're figuring out how to work inside of that overlap,
Mm-hmm.
our actual lives, pulling in kind of the intuitive wisdom that is from that other dimension, that other part of ourselves,
Yes.
into this dimension. And because they're overlapped now, we can still stay grounded and landed. Like it's
Yes.
not pulling us out of this body like it in the past that I think so many people experience. Like, well, if I'm experiencing kind of my higher dimensional self, um, it so took them out of this. They so could then not relate with this kind of lived real
Yeah.
reality. And
And
I
sometimes it starts people saying like, take me away. Like I just abduct me. Like I don't want to be here anymore. Earth is ghetto. And I totally understand that. But we're here. We're here for this. And every day we are so blessed that the sun comes up and that life exists and we have another opportunity to be our truest self and embody those multidimensional aspects that we carry from our whole existence. Like this is such a magical time and I feel so lucky to be here.
Yeah, that's to me what it is when you said earlier on about like this excitement. And I said, yeah, it's hard, but it like there is this excitement about like, oh my God, what we can do now because we're connecting so much more with kind of when I say our higher dimensional self, with these aspects of ourself that before pulled us out, but now we can pull them into this reality. And it's becoming this, like I said, one of the basis of my program is creating something new. How can I create something new? And I think it's when we get connected with that part of ourselves and release and remove stuff that are actually, oh my God, so much clutter keeping us from being able to see that and feel that. Like so much is, when I say needs to be detoxed off of us
Yeah.
in order to actually feel and into that
And receive it,
and
to be able
receive
to
it.
like frequency wise for us to be able
And
to
it
receive.
gets exciting. Like
Yeah.
it's like getting tapped in, like
Yes.
you feel the power of that connection, and then you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, we're
Yes.
we're gonna be unstoppable.
I will also say this in response to your question of like how has that affected me in my reality, like integrating this. The other day, and I love water so much. Always when I'm washing my hands or in the shower, in the bath, I'm getting all the information. I love water. And you can also use water to move things out, like we were just talking about. The clutter that needs to go, you can identify that in the bath and then say goodbye in the drain. It's as easy as that. Um, but I did finally receive an answer that I've been asking for years. And sometimes it happens, and I usually chalk it up to my ego's inability to fully understand um, questions about myself, my life, my partner, this, that, the other thing. Our ego might get in the way. I've asked a million other times at different ways, other people, and I really wasn't satisfied with the answer. Now, because of this information that I now have, it has helped it helped answer a question. So how I could describe this is becoming aware of that level of myself and actually accepting it instead of just being like, oh, this is a little wild, people are talking about this. I don't know if it's true or not, or if it applies to me, to like, I can feel this in my body and I can see how it's reflected every day. It's like almost undeniable at this point. So like I've really been able to accept it and see that as a real potential in my life. And so I finally was able to receive the answer to a question that I asked a long time ago, um, about my ex-husband. Essentially, throughout the time that I was, trying to reconcile and going through difficult times, I would ask, like, whatever brought us together? Like, what are we supposed to work on? What made me attracted to him? How was I attracted to him? How was he attracted to me? Why? Like, why did we do this? Like, and I never really got a clear answer. But through this, it came through very clearly in my mind, and I knew exactly where it went, what question it applied to. It was very clear to me, and I don't want to describe the information on here because it's a little personal, but sometimes the work that we do allows us, like your recalibration time. I could imagine that it would allow you to have the space in your frequency field to finally drop that information in. And I feel like you're doing it for me right now too. Like that's definitely your gift.
There is such, like you said, whether it be through water, through the earth. I have the I have a well up here that taps into this like amazing water that's like the pure, it's like spring water. It comes up. And so I have this container. I don't have a full like bath thing up here. I had this container that I just filled with the water yesterday, and like you said, soaked in it. And I don't know, I there's sometimes those practices can be like and absolutely some of the most transformational things. And like I said, I feel grounded today. Like there was a actual release between that physical action
Yes.
in water, and the water, like I said, that comes out as well feels alive. Like it feels
Hmm.
like just it's vibrating with all kinds of information.
I
Like
love
I get downloads, you
I
know,
love it. Oh my gosh, that's
incredible.
amazing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to come out and see
Yeah,
you at
you are
some
gonna
point.
have to
Oh my
come.
gosh, that is like a dream. I
But that those gifts, I think too, that we can tap into that this actual physical world has for us are just almost beyond our imagination, as far as like, I mean, anybody can say, I think, that has had experience of going out in nature, and all of a sudden like clarity comes, or they're out for a hike, and you just feel like this tremendous like peace, and like your mind clears, your body all of a sudden feels so much more alive.
Yes,
And oh my goodness, that really has been like a practical thing that I think that more and more people need space to tap into in order to
yes.
kind of move into, I think, what this next year has for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's you're reminding me of a few years ago. Well, I recently just went through a divorce and I did not get to keep the property that we owned, and he bought it from me. So I no longer have it, but it was 7 acres, outside of Philadelphia. And though it was fairly easy to access from major roads, it also was very secluded. And like the driveway is like a quarter mile long, 7 acres in the woods. And I was trying to build a homestead and a space, sanctuary space for um, clients to come on certain days of the week between certain hours and do garden therapy. Literally, like just Shinrin Yoku, like walk through the woods, and I put like mulch down in the woods to have like a nice shaded area and all this like hammocks and different stuff. And but I was not able to maintain that in my ownership, and that's okay, because it wasn't meant for me, and I was supposed to let that go, and so that I could allow the bigger better thing to come in. So, but obviously I love it. I love it. I love that whole idea. And I think that it's completely, not completely, but it's overlooked. I feel like people don't, they underestimate the gift that that is to have space available and to spend time in nature and to connect in those ways. And I'm not saying people don't, but I
Mhm.
think that we all should a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think that that has been part of my journey and my gift to bring to people has been like connecting, like I said, these dimensions, like really grounded earth things, along with pulling in your higher dimensional self, your intuitive self, along with being really practical in your daily habits and life, and how those two things actually co-create together a lived experience that is so much richer, that is, we're not trying to escape
Mhm.
to this other dimension. We're actually trying to combine those two.
Yeah.
It's in combining them that we are then actually creating new ways of living, new, we're trailblazing this new experience that is so much richer, so much deeper than what I think we've experienced, for the last hundreds and hundreds of years or whatever, but that is where we're going, like
Yes.
pulling those two things together and
Yes.
with those uh that combination.
Those codes. Yeah, the codes in the tapestry make it
Mhm.
alive. And organic at the same time, uh consciously bringing them together. Um I love that. I love that visual I just got. It was like a giant loom, like bring like really like and the strength of braiding those things together instead of separating them or seeing them as separate, but instead integrating it, and it's just so much more being woven together. It's just so much more
Well, I think it is like actually then creating something here that's new.
tangible.
And,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I don't think we came here on this earth to like try to escape it. I think we came here
Yes.
to like create something tangible, but there has been something that where there has been such a disconnect between the two, that it was either like you were a up in the clouds woo-wee person, really spiritual, but then you weren't able to like really ground it here on earth, or you were so just in the earth experience and shut off to your spiritual side, to your intuitive senses and everything. And I think that there is something in these years ahead where we are learning. It's like this new school of learning of pulling those things together. And it's becoming so much easier, meaning like
Yes.
there is something about it that, being that more and more people are walking this path of combining those things, that it is actually in the collective becoming an easier to assimilate those, you know.
Yeah. It
those-
makes a lot of sense. Like I would say 5 years ago or so, I could identify that I felt a very strong pull toward shamanism. And I feel very connected to the path of the shaman and the healer. And um, my my ascendant is my Chiron is conjunct my ascendant, so it's also like very clear that that's my path in life is one of a healer. I'm gonna try my best not to be wounded, um, but I think that's also, they say that's where the light enters. So everything is a gift.
I'm curious to question too, like how this, because part of my journey in this last year, or in this last 5 years, or 10 years, whatever, but has also then learning how to um bring together these parts of me in relationship.
Yeah.
I would say, and let's just say in like a romantic in a partnership relationship, what friends and stuff, but I just would say specifically in that. And oh man, there has been, I think, a huge disconnect in our lived reality in relationships, being
Mhm.
able to connect this divine feminine, I would say divine masculine type of relationship where again, I think it kind of mirrors like what I say, these connecting of these dimensions. I would say the divine feminine has more of that, you know, intuitive, body felt wisdom.
Yeah.
And the divine masculine is like, how can we integrate that into this lived reality and hold a structure for it and
Yeah.
create from it? And I'm curious for you, and I can share from my side too. Like that is, there's a lot of trauma and a lot of um when I say programming that we've all lived through and grown up in, and families and parents that have shown different sides of that that necessarily weren't healthy, that we've all had to kind of shed and work through. And
Yeah.
it's something that I've worked through. And I was married for, like I said, for 25 years to my husband who passed, and we had a really beautiful relationship. But we also, I would say, had a very limited. I mean, we grew exponentially as he got closer to passing, actually. Like we came closer and closer and closer to connecting in all these ways.
That's
But
beautiful.
I would say, he did pass and we weren't there yet. And part of that experience was because he was so close to death that you start shedding, so much of the stuff that, when
The
I say
surface level
the
stuff.
surface level stuff that
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
I didn't really get to live that out in a relationship due to his passing. So it has been something that I have been working through in the last 5 years in myself. And I think it first comes that I had to shed a bunch of layers even to be able to get to this place that I'm at now, which I'm still shedding layers. So, but I'm
Yes.
curious too for you what your experience has been with that as well. Integrating those
Yeah.
of
I'll
yourself.
say, I'll say that in the past 5 years, because I had such a fast awakening, I think my experience was a Kundalini awakening, and it was also coincided with spiritual, and it's just all basically the same thing. The realizations that I came to and what resonated in my body beyond anything that I had ever experienced, it just was like, I felt like a walking lie detector. I felt like I could read people's minds and I knew that they could read mine. And I was like, but that's like organic. Like that's like the way it should be. Like truly to have like be to be truly open and have no fear and just be so full of love that anywhere you go in your environment, you are shifting and changing other people's frequencies for the better. Like that was like my realization, and that's been my intention. And sometimes I do that like just driving along in traffic. I'll like look at all the cars and I'm like, bless all y'all. Bless all y'all. You're going to have a magical day. Like it's one of my favorite things to do, and especially when I'm driving, I download things really quickly, but as far as like in my relationships, I have I've never been quiet. So
Mhm.
that it's not that I've been able to like speak more, but I also like hold my truth better. I'm much more capable of having conversations with people and not agreeing with them just to have them stop talking. Like I don't do that anymore. I used to just be like, "Oh, okay, like I hear what you're saying, but now I respectfully like disagree and I'll just hold that. And but I don't have any problem receiving someone else's opposing view. I actually welcome it. But, so it's not that that's even new, but it's almost like some of the crazy things that I was saying 5 years ago, because it came in so quickly and fat, like it was just so, I felt the need to like communicate to my family. Essentially, like I had a remembrance of what life was like in Lemuria. And
Mm,
it was made very clear to me that part of my purpose here is to help us get it's like going back to the future and in the past, like but that's the future. Like it's
yeah.
so interesting, like this, forward and backwards and inside out, upside down. But essentially I need to bring that wisdom from that time in myself, in my soul,
Mhm,
to now and in my
mhm,
life and all of the relationships that I have. And I've had so many things change along the lines of personal relationships, like friends and romantic partners, and even with my immediate family, like my parents and my sister. Like so many things have changed over the years. I mean, for each one of those different separate sectors, it's gone, all the way back and then back again. And it's just like, it's so interesting to reflect on. It's allowed me to listen to my own intuition and also stand firm in my beliefs.
Yeah, I would say that I've been I I personally did really, really struggle. Like I would say I wouldn't have spoken my um my truths as well in relationship in the past,
Mm-hmm.
feeling like for some reason that it was too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I personally have been like really working in the last 5 years to step into that and bring that. And it wasn't out of like non-integrity. It was just the like I said, the layers that I felt were on top of me that I had to uncover. And I
Yeah.
do like your words of like standing firm in my truth, standing firm. Like there is something about that um I feel there is probably a lot of women that is happening in them right now of
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I need to just stand in this. You don't even necessarily have to say anything.
Yeah.
Just not letting yourself step back or
Yeah.
like not just stand in it. Like, oh,
Yeah. It's
just
not even like the power to fight because we don't have to fight. We just need power to stand firm. Yeah.
yeah,
Hold it.
in the truth of what it is that it is your resonant truth when something doesn't feel right, when some you don't necessarily agree. And again, I agree with you too. I welcome a different perspective, but there is something about standing in what resonates for you, standing in what feels true to you. And again, to me, it comes back into the body. There's that connection between our kind of our higher knowing that drops into our body that
Yeah.
I think a lot of us have um, not listened to that and listened to it, but taken that step back or said, oh, it's okay, or whatever it was that we then shifted versus just standing in it,
Yeah.
and which I think has been a disservice to our relationships ultimately,
Yeah.
because it's the allowing the truth that like there is a gift in the feminine that has this uh knowing, this
Yes.
like intuition before something even is.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like
And
it's like having the baby inside of you before it comes out. It's like we know it's the,
oh yeah, for
we
sure.
know
We feel
it.
it.
And it's like that standing. And again, I don't see it as like this forcing or pushing, but it's that combining of that um next level dimensional self that actually that emanates, embodies this force that actually changes our lived reality with
Hmm.
many times us not having to do something. Sometimes there's actions that we take almost once that emanates or opens the path up and kind of shows us the next step or what it is.
Yes.
But
And
it's
I feel like those the way we do that is through managing our emotions and our thoughts. And it's not bypassing or choosing. It's like literally you encounter a scenario or situation or something, and it may trigger you or not, but it's really all in how you move through it. It's not that it happened, it's how you move through it, it's how you feel, it's how you choose to see things and continue to be accepting for the ever evolving options that are coming your way from the universe. So it's like those little tests, but I feel
yeah,
like it really is like the hack to that is to like somehow keep love and hope in your heart and always open for the expansive potential that
yeah.
you can't even conceptualize. Just remembering that like you couldn't even imagine will
Mhm.
allow you to actually step into what is unfolding.
Yeah, for me, it's been kind of that being in the present moment and taking that pause, not the pause to like step back from my intuitive knowing or but that pause to like let it settle and sink into you and not be out of a reactive or a wounded part of me, but like feel into like that other part of me that is that knowing, that is that truer side of me, not the wounded side of me. And then it feels like, oh, I know where to step, I know where to move, I know what to say, and I'm not reacting. I'm just kind of emanating what it is that's true.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I love that. What a wonderful way to put that. Thank you. It's funny when you were talking before and you were like, as women, it's like feeling the baby in there before they come. Like we know it's there. I've always wondered how people, have you ever seen like the TV shows and it's like, I didn't know I was pregnant. And it's like, how? How did you not know? Oh my gosh. But you
Well, people are,
know,
I mean, people get so disconnected from their bodies.
yeah.
And, I would say there are different seasons in my life. I've always been pretty connected, but, that we do stuff to numb ourselves or we do stuff out of, we are in situations that are too much. And so we kind of numb out of feeling into our bodies. But I think that that is, again, one of the um, gifts that I love bringing people back into is we've disconnected our bodies from our knowing and disconnected from that space.
Yeah.
So, so
The
many.
sensual embodiment, like we were talking about.
I
Yeah.
love. I love. I actually haven't like when I say heard that, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to contemplate
Isn't
that.
it funny though?
Yeah.
You hear sensual embodiment, my mind goes to sexual, but it's not. It's actually not. It's embodying the senses.
Mhm.
It's deeply feeling, smelling, hearing, like allowing yourself to be in your body so that you can be grounded and have discernment.
Right.
100%. And that it's I feel a little bit silly saying that I just recently had that realization, but I also wanted to share that because
Yeah.
damn, I didn't know. So somebody else probably doesn't realize that either.
Good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, like I said, sit with that. But that's putting words to like what I've been feeling into.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just becoming more and more attuned to that all of my senses,
Yeah.
all, all of me, not I mean, you know, I've been very much in the health and wellness side of it, but that too, it's like you can go to the extreme in that and actually become disconnected from your body.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like, oh no, there has to be this combination of where
Yeah.
we like really connect. And a lot of people, when I say they can't do that, they've really struggled to do that because they've so overloaded their body with stuff
Hmm.
that doesn't really allow them to really connect. They are obviously still connected, but doesn't really allow them to connect fully with their body. And it
Yeah.
is really fun to see as kind of clear some of that stuff out, how you can become greater connected to your body and your feelings and your senses.
And valid to say, if you are just if you have been disconnected, understandably through trauma or many outside sources, the toxins, the frequencies that we're surrounded by,
We're
the
just bombarded by
yeah,
it.
we're literally bombarded. So it's not your fault, okay? And if you're one of those people who is just realizing how disconnected you are as you're tuning into your body and you start to feel those sensations,
Yeah,
please, 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 please
listen.
understand that if it's uncomfortable, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means you're not used to it. Keep trying. Like I'm basically talking to myself right now. So
Yeah. And then asking why
yeah,
I feel this way rather than judging it or just like that's something wrong with me, trying to, like all those kind of ways that we diminish what our body is saying by saying it's wrong by saying it. It's
yeah,
like
yes,
telling a little kid that, scraped his knee, like you're wrong by saying it hurts. Well, no, it does hurt. You
yeah,
know? Like,
yeah,
okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean that we need to do? Do there is that part. And yeah, not feeling bad that you are having all these feelings that are uncomfortable or you don't quite know what to do with that. Even sitting in that is okay.
yeah,
And feeling
yeah,
that is
yes.
okay, not
Very
judge.
powerful. I also have been speaking along these lines of like practicing the embodiment. I recently started a course in Tantra, but it's solo Tantra. It's just understanding like how you relate to yourself and experiencing those sensations in your body, but connecting it spiritually. And I'm just beginning, and I'm sure there are many other resources. But right now, I'm just taking like a course on Udemy. But yeah, I find it fascinating. There's so many resources, there's so much information, and I especially appreciate ancient practices because I mean there's a reason they've been around for so long.
Yeah, I do too. I think that there's so much wisdom in a lot of the ancient practices that got buried and hidden from us that is really exciting to see some of it come back into our awareness to be able to like dive into and seek into and find the truths in it that
Yes,
so so helpful.
it's
Yeah.
been fascinating for me to shift my mindset from what I have been taught in America as you know, as I am an American in school and public school system, society, like all of the programming, all the things in particular. But um, it's very interesting when like I'm not a doctor.
Mhm.
I'm in any sense. So I don't even fully understand it, but like in a way I do, and I intuitively understand our bodies and how things are connected. And a lot of times I see it in my mind, and I've always been able to do that. So like I've been able to realize that number one, like be aware that I can do that, and then number two, it's like why don't you just use your common sense? Like
Mhm.
why don't you just like like muscle testing. Ask your body. You know, like it makes sense. Like, and it's not woo woo. Like, it's so funny to me that it's like that. I've seen memes that say things along this lines. It's like, isn't it interesting how people like believe in the internet and they understand like Wi-Fi, but they don't understand that like we're electrical beings and we have auras and that there's information transmitted through that. Um,
Yeah. Well, and we've been so conditioned to look outside of ourselves for the answer, to look to the pill to be the answer, to look to the doctor or, these other things. And again, those are all human creations that were created by somebody that was
yes.
just human.
Yes, exactly. We're just humans. We're not, you can't, I mean, it's great. Some
But
medical discoveries have been monumentally so
huge.
important, and I'm so
Yeah,
thankful for that. That's not what
absolutely.
I'm saying. I'm not saying don't listen to your doctor. I'm just saying, like one time I went to the doctor and for with my daughter and she was sick. She didn't quite have a fever. I think she was throwing up a little bit though. And I made a comment about being sure to give her some electrolytes because I have a water similarly to when you were talking about your spring water. I thought to mention it, but I didn't. I did actually invest in one of those mechanisms that swirls your water. And I will say, I see a huge difference and it makes so much sense to me. The cellular structure of the water, I also see that very clearly and how important it is for it to have that live attribute to be able to phase in. That's the osmosis. It's required for it to occur, as far as I understand. But it's funny. The doctor was like, "You don't need electrolytes," and in that moment, I'm like, "Okay, this doctor is telling me that we don't, as humans, we don't need electrolytes." But like, I understand ourselves to be electrical beings,
Right.
and so like, I think that I might never come back. Like, it's like, thank you. I think this might be the last time I ever see you. Because you said that and it's stupid. It's just stupid. Like that's a stupid thing to say. So it's just
Well, like, unfortunately, we live in a world that has been so stripped, has been so truthfully polluted and stripped.
yeah,
We can't really live like the way that our ancestors way back did, where they got, what they needed out of the soil. I mean, I think we can if we start regenerating, and there are regenerative farms and in people's gardens, and
yes,
and spring water and all these things are super wonderful, and I try to integrate that into my life constantly. But I would say, like, there's a lot of people that don't know that and don't have access to that. And like
yeah,
they are literally, like, their bodies are dying for nourishment.
yeah.
Not even
It,
to say that they aren't quote unquote eating fairly healthy, going to the grocery store and getting,
well,
whatever.
the thing is, you get spinach from the grocery store. There's hardly any nutrition left in that because it's been there for days. It's been transported there. And I mean, like, they don't tell you that necessarily in school. They just say, get your vegetables, and then they send you the
Uh,
flyer, the
yeah, and
coupon
they tell
for
you, like,
the
well,
food
if you
store.
eat spinach, it has this, 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 and this. Well, I promise you that every spinach plant is nowhere near the same. That would be the most ludicrous, like, stupidest thing for you to believe that every piece of spinach that's grown on the earth is the same. I,
Yes.
who, how could, no. It depends what kind of earth I mean, it'd be like, depends what kind of dirt it's grown in. It's
Yeah,
got to put nutrients in it.
absolutely.
How much sun. It depends how long it's been out of, sitting on the shelf. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many things that contribute to what is in that. And I think some people forget that the
And
trees. Yeah.
energetically even like the farm and the farmers and their intentions and how what they're willing to do or not, how they treat the plants and the land and how they treat themselves. All of that is energetically reflected in everything that we eat, including animals. um it's wild when I think about that stuff. It's so interesting. I love thinking about all of this, but then sometimes it's like, what the fuck?
Sometimes it
It's just
can
all
be
the
too much.
levels.
It can be too much. I mean, I think it's good to have an aspiration to go in that direction because I think that unless we start shifting in that way to be able to live, like, oh my God, we are going to be so depleted, you know.
Yeah.
But I also do truly believe that we have the God-given power to actually create and give into our food as we prepare it. Like there is
Yes.
a transference between that connection that I could buy something at the grocery store and through my just
Your
love,
energy field,
my
your
energy
intentions.
field, and
Yep.
then give it to my kid and
Yep.
it's going to have what it needs.
Yes, that's what kitchen witches do. That's a kitchen witch. Yep.
So I
Yes.
could be the kitchen witch and
Yes.
just go to the normal grocery store at times because that's what I have to do. And so,
Yes.
I would say to anybody that's like, well, I can't afford to go, to the regenerative farm or buy everything perfect. Hey, work on your kitchen witchery.
Yes. Yes,
Because
it really
I,
is the
it's
intention and the love that we put into what we do. And that's why it's so important to be embodied and to be present
right.
in the now moment, to be able to do those things that compound for
Yeah.
our nourishment. Yeah.
And I think the example that's used a lot with that is like the science they've shown about the intention that when you put it towards water, how
Yeah.
it changes it. I think that it's a really good like actual scientific thing that shows that we can actually affect the food, the water, everything that we are in contact with.
Absolutely.
It's not I don't, there's a lot of people that are doom and gloom out there of like, well, everything's polluted. There's no way you can get anything clean anymore, but
Oh, oh, honey, there's always another way.
always a way.
Yep. And there
We
always has been, and there
are,
always will be. Yes.
and we
Yeah.
are magical beings to be
Yeah.
able to do that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I love that you said that. I see that frequently, and sometimes it can feel a little bit doom and gloom, but yes, I don't align with anything that's like, we're fucked, everything's toxic, they're doing it on purpose. The big they, whoever they is. And it's like, they is a part of us that is like actually like not a part of us, that's like from our contic infiltration, that like we really just need to recognize and eliminate like through our everyday lives and how we operate and how we affect other people. It's very interesting. not
Yeah,
even
and
not even
and
hard.
realize right,
Yeah.
and realize the power that we have. I think
Yeah.
that's where we can get ourselves released from that fear of all the other, powers to be or, that are moving down this doom and gloom path, which I think they're out there. They're, that's real. I'm not like in a
Yeah.
bubble not seeing that. But I also know that we are like powerful, incredible creator beings ourselves that have the ability to create something new in this world, in our lives, actually in this container that we're living in. And so
100%.
we don't have to live in fear of that.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's also really beneficial, instead of seeing all of the negatives that we perceive as negatives, instead of seeing them all and feeling like doom and gloom, it's really just an opportunity to reflect on what needs to be done, to prioritize the importance of like what should we work on first in our lives, in our communities, and then collectively, and like it just ever expanding. And I'm
Mhm.
just so excited. I'm so excited for that opportunity. Yeah.
Absolutely. Same. Yeah, me too.
I also love that when you're working with plants, like you were saying, the amount of nutrition that's in the plants. I have read that if you inform the plant that you intend to harvest it for a certain intention, and then you do that, like say you go and you sit with the plants and you say, I'm going to harvest you tomorrow morning. You give them time, and they'll work overnight and up until the morning, because the morning is the best time to cut anything for its peak nutrition and freshness. But also, if you communicate those intentions, it will also work overtime to implement specifically what you want in there. You can say like, please pack this full of vitamin K, whatever.
I love
Whatever that is. I don't even know what that is.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah, and I would fully agree. And I think that that kind of magic is what we're bringing into this world moving
Yes.
forward.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. It has been so beautiful talking with you, Andrea. I love catching up with you, and you're welcome here anytime. This was such a wonderfully expansive conversation, and I know, but I hope it really resonates with people. Whatever timing is necessary for them to be able to receive, it drops in so easily. We've covered so many different topics, and I just am so thankful for you spending time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel so grateful for you to have shared your experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode with Andria Van Gordon. Thank you so much for sitting, listening, and being in our experience. I hope it highlighted something for your experience because we're all in this together. Again, I would love to hear from you. Please rate, review, subscribe, send me a message, send me an email, reach out, let me know how this is coming across to you and what you might like to hear more of. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to next time. Until then, take care. Enjoy this track by Stilo Free, Lights and Shadows.
Cause pressure made diamonds. Lay back, smoking loud in the silence. It's all love, but no trust. Why you think I'm doing too much? Cause pressure made diamonds. Lay back, smoking loud in the silence. I roll up and go up. Why you tripping? Give me no love. Nowadays you don't gotta mind me. In the end I hope you really find peace. I had to set my mind free. I had to let my soul breathe. Moon sign Pisces, heart broke psyche. Angels all around me, but demons wanna fight me. Feel like I had to fight myself. No, I had to look inside myself. With a predisposition to addiction. Through the negatives, I'm still focused on the vision. It's sorta like that first scene you see in Pulp Fiction. I see the end, but it's really only the beginning. I had to find a way to be grateful for them locked doors that you made close. When doves cry, it's so painful, but the purple rain is so graceful. Cause pressure made diamonds. Lay back, smoking loud in the silence. It's all love, but no trust. Why you think I'm doing too much? Cause pressure made diamonds. Lay back, smoking loud in the silence. I roll up and go up. Why you tripping? Give me no love. I'm fighting battles, lost between the lights and the shadows. Tryna shoot me down, I'm dodging all the ammo. Left me hanging, I escaped from the gallows. Swim through the ether, blowing on a reefer. Running like Rev when he rapped about Adidas. It's like my flow is heaven sent. My energy could shift the cards in your tarot deck. Life ain't always what it seemed. An alternate reality, I'm living in a dream. I got the Stussy on the T with the 501 jeans. Ray-Ban Lokes with the Air Max 3s. Mandela effect, got me living my best. I gotta jump timelines when I'm living in stress. And a spliff in my chest, it got me lifting and blessed. Peace, you know the rest.